What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So yesterday we had talked about the new Xbox Series X Halo Edition console coming out in November. We briefly touched on what was happening with resellers buying these systems up and putting them up online. Well, over the last 24 hours, that situation has absolutely exploded and gotten a bit out of control. We're going to go over that one here today. Also, we are going to be talking about another Switch exclusive now heading to PC in the next week. And we're also going to talk about the Famitsu sales charts, as it looks like Ghost of Tsushima had a very good debut on the PS4 and the PS5, and interestingly enough, the Xbox Series consoles are getting a bit of momentum in Japan. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton, and if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all the uploads here on the channel. And we're going to start today with Xbox Live Games with Gold. They did put out a full video and a little card kind of showing off the 4 different titles that you can just go ahead and claim starting in September, and we'll head over here. This was posted up on news.xbox.com, starting from left to right with Warhammer Chaos Bane. That's available September 1st to September 30th. Then we have Mulaka, that's September 16th to October 15th. And then we have Zone of the Enders HD Collection, available September 1st to the 15th. And then Samurai Showdown 2, that's available September 16th to September 30th. And right off the bat, Zone of the Enders HD Collection, awesome to see that here. That, of course, has the first Zone of the Enders, then Zone of the Enders Second Runner. I really enjoyed Second Runner. I have this HD Collection on the PlayStation, and I think it's an awesome game to check out there, especially if you have never played them, worth diving into. And then Warhammer Chaos Bane, I have not played. That is kind of like a Diablo style game from what people were saying, so definitely worth claiming all 4 of these. Obviously, if you have Xbox Live Gold, why not? This looks like, I would say, an average month, solid month, really. Nothing that really jumps out at me too much, but certainly better than some of the previous months we've had. Also, we had talked a while ago about how Monster Rancher 1 and 2 went to the Switch, but just in Japan alongside of mobile devices there. Well, it looks like now we have an announcement that the game will be releasing worldwide, and we can head over to Gamatsu, where they say Koei Tecmo has announced Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX for Switch, PC, that's through Steam, and iOS. It will launch on December 9th worldwide. Now, the big thing here, there were some odd things that were going on with this game, these 2 releases in Japan, that had to do with microtransactions. For example, you had to pay for save data slots, like individual ones. I believe after the initial one that you got, for example, they have it listed here with their changes. One slot was like 120 yen, right? Or you put 980 yen for 12 slots, but they have eliminated that completely. They will just all be available from the start, which good. I mean, that seems like something you would need to play this game. The other thing, if you played Monster Rancher back in the day on the original PlayStation, the biggest part there was you would take music CDs and you would put them into the PlayStation, and it would generate a monster on screen for you to use in the game. Not able to do that on the Switch. You can't put a music CD in there. I believe they have a database, and you just kind of search for songs and things like that, and then it will create a monster. So it does take away from the magic a bit, but not much else they could do there. They just had to kind of have a workaround, and that's what they came up with. But look forward to this one December 9th, especially if you're a Monster Rancher fan and you've been waiting for it. Oh, and it does look like we have confirmation that this new Skate game will be heading to PC. We can see this tweet here that just says PC confirmation.exe. This is great news, by the way, because Skate has pretty much just been on consoles, and if you're playing it on PC, you were probably emulating it. A lot of people have actually been using RCPS3, the PS3 emulator on PC, and Skate 3 is like one of the most emulated games on there. That and like Metal Gear Solid 4, because there's that full multiplayer that's being used with it. But like, it's been that, Skater XL, Session. There have been skateboarding games that are popping up now on PC, so it makes sense that Skate would also release a version of the game on PC, probably through Steam or maybe just Origin. We'll see where they go with the game when it comes to launchers, but good to see that it will be making its way to PC, giving everyone there another option for a good skating game. Here's hoping everything turns out all right, because they are targeting a bunch of platforms here. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the Xbox Series X Halo Edition console coming out in November. Obviously, a big celebration for the 20th anniversary for the Halo franchise, culminating with the big release of Halo Infinite on December 8th. Well, as expected, people started to buy these systems in hopes of being able to flip and resell them online. And I had mentioned this. I said, yep, that didn't take long. I even posted on Twitter just a quick screen grab of a couple of them listed. But in my mind, I said, who's going to pay $900 to $1,000 for this Xbox Series X Halo Edition console? Apparently a lot of people, because I went back and checked it out the next day, and the sold listings are out of control. Like, people are buying these left and right on eBay. Here, for example, is just a listing of several of these Xbox consoles through sold searches on eBay. I mean, just take a look. We have some at like $994, $864, $994, $950, $975 with $20 shipping on top of that, $1,000. That was done by bids, by the way. So 15 different bids came up to get it up to $1,000, and there's also $30 shipping on top of that. Basically, we are back to a point where we are seeing Xbox Series systems climb up to $1,000. Now, this system is $50 more than the regular Series X, this one being $550. So obviously, if they're going to flip it and try to double up, they'd be going closer to that $1,000 mark. But we were getting to a point where we were starting to see Series X systems come down in price a bit, and now we are having it flooded once again with these Xbox Series X Halo Edition consoles. So the demand is starting to go back up on these Xbox Series systems on eBay. And we had talked about that Halo Xbox Elite Wireless Controller Series 2. That's also seen several listings on eBay. Not as bad as what we saw with the Halo Series X edition, this being about $300. I saw someone trying to get like $400, and I did see one that did sell at $450, which is like outlandish to me because this isn't even one of the newer Xbox Series controllers. This is technically one of the Elite controllers. It doesn't have the share button, but it's Halo themed, and that's the big anniversary this year. We've talked about how anniversary years tend to drive prices up, and I believe that you could see that with Halo. I mean, who knows? Maybe we could see Heritage Auctions and Wada come in with a sealed copy of Halo 5, and they might be able to get $10 for that. The only part that's kind of a shame about this is these systems will absolutely be limited. Like, Microsoft's not going to keep making this special edition Halo system for the next couple of years. There is a small window where these will be available, and that's going to be it. Most likely it'll run through, if the game's coming out in December, this system comes out in November, probably through January or February, then they're just gonna go away. So I don't know if its inflated price from initial release will affect its price down the road if you're someone who's looking to collect this system. But still, it's gonna be very difficult to get it, and it already would have been if we weren't in this climate of games these systems, these game consoles, being difficult to find from the start. So unfortunate for people who are big Halo fans who maybe wanted to grab this Series X, and here's hoping maybe one day you can walk in and just find it in the store, or you get lucky on a Best Buy or a Walmart one day and happen to get it into your cart and then through checkout. So good luck to everyone out there who's trying to actually grab these and, play the system. Next up, let's talk about a Switch exclusive that will be making the move to PC here pretty soon. We can head over to Twitter. This was posted up by Square Enix saying, the acclaimed RPG Bravely Default 2 makes its way to Steam on September 2nd, 2021. So like next week. This is pretty quick from announcement to release. It is being dropped onto Steam, and they even have a pre-order that gets you 10% off now. And I also want to point out for anyone who's been kind of on the fence for this one, maybe on the Switch even, it's been half off for the last couple of days. If you've noticed down in the description, I've started putting games that are on sale on Amazon that I'll just see when I'm browsing and checking things out for different videos, and occasionally different game sales will pop up on the side. I'm like, that's a pretty good deal. I'll drop it in the description. So like, this has actually been down there for the past couple of days. Bravely Default 2 at $30 on the Switch. But this isn't too surprising, Square moving Bravely Default 2 to the PC, although I guess it's a big deal for the series considering it's been on the 3DS, now here it is on the Switch, now it's moving to a non-Nintendo platform, that being like the mainline series here with Bravely Default 2. It's good for the series because it'll get, a wider audience, and I do wonder how Bravely Default 2 actually sold on the Switch, considering we never had an announcement that it reached 1 million units, and I don't think it has, which is why we have not seen that. It was up on the Famitsu sales charts, sat there for a little bit, but I think kind of tapered off a bit, around 150,000 sold, and it never showed up in the NPD sales charts, like ever. It came out at a weird time though, like right at the end of February, so it wasn't gonna be in the February charts. It got ran over in March, but even on like the Switch's top 10, didn't show up there either. So this would be a good way for Square to get a bit of a resurgence here in sales overall moving to PC, because the game itself is good. If you're a fan of traditional JRPG style games, maybe like a job system included, this is a good one to pick up with that really interesting mechanic of being able to essentially borrow turns from the future or just kind of bank and store them to use later on in the battle. It's certainly promoted some pretty good strategies against different bosses, and then mixing and matching your jobs that you had earned and unlocked as you went along. And to be honest, the move here isn't too surprising from Square after we saw what happened with Octopath Traveler going to PC and then eventually going to Xbox. So I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if Bravely Default 2 went to Steam and then maybe even went onto Game Pass day one. Once again, a good way to get the series into more people's hands so they can check it out to a wider audience. It just makes it so that Square can look around and say, okay, maybe we can make another Bravely Default game. So here's hoping that's the case there. Also, don't be surprised when Monster Hunter Rise also goes to PC. That should be happening next year. It actually already leaked out through Capcom. So a lot of these third-party games Nintendo is paying out to have timed exclusivity for a year, sometimes 6 to 7 months. Next up, let's talk about Halo Infinite and something that was missing at Gamescom and was pointed out by pretty much everyone, that having to do with no campaign gameplay. And this was kind of concerning to people as well, because now we have a release date for the game, December 8th. We've played the multiplayer, but the one thing we're still unsure of is that campaign, because the last gameplay we had was, well, in July of last year, and that's what kind of got everything moving when it came to a delay, as they realized, okay, there's still a lot of work we have to do here. And, Joseph Staten comes in, and here we are now waiting for the game to come out at the end of 2021. Well, Joseph Staten did at least talk about why there was no campaign gameplay at Gamescom. We can head over here to Windows Central, where they say 343 Industries head of creative Joseph Staten shared more on why campaign footage was not shown accompanying the announcement of the release date and special edition console and controller during Gamescom 2021. Staten notes that he and the others definitely hear the complaints over a lack of campaign gameplay and says that it's not being shown at this moment due to the studio's focus on making sure it's as polished as possible. Staten further compares this phase of development to landing an aircraft, saying that more gameplay footage and trailers will be shown when it won't interfere with getting through this phase. Staten also shares anecdotes from his own excitement, playing through the campaign, being ambushed by cloaked elites, hiding in seemingly abandoned bases, or aiding a Marine outpost with a sniper rifle. So Joseph Staten has talked about this multiple times now, just different things he's done in the campaign relating to things like the grappling hook, or just playing through certain story elements and set pieces, or here talking about his experience with cloaked elites and abandoned bases using a sniper rifle. So he's obviously excited about what he's been helping to create with the campaign. I think a lot of us are just ready to see it, but I understand at least what he's saying here, in that when you want to show off part of a campaign, for example, like this being a semi-open world campaign, you would pretty much design like a set demo, right? It could be scripted in some ways just to keep things on track for that 8 to 10 minutes that you have set up for it. And it is something that takes away from the development of the core game, because you have to bring people in to then work on it and make it presentable all the way around and make sure it's not going to break, you're going to fall through the ground or something, just doing this slice of the game. So in Joseph Staten's mind, hey, we all have to focus on this campaign now. When we get through this certain phase, then we can start working on a slice of the game, because we'll be confident that it's coming out December 8th. Let's be real. I think they're still trying to push hard to make sure they're hitting that date, and we'll have something to show as we get further along this year. I do believe they are going to show off campaign gameplay before it comes out. They kind of have to. So I'm looking more towards October or November. November being when we're going to have the big anniversary for Halo would be a pretty cool time to release an 8 to 10 minute walkthrough of maybe a set piece for campaign, just showing off the different aspects and the improvements that they've made, and then have their final big push over the following month or so towards release in December. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about the Famitsu sales charts. These are charts that we get every single week showing us how games sold in Japan, as well as the systems. And we'll start with the top 10 here for games, starting with Ring Fit Adventure at the top, 17,656. Then we have Yu-Gi-Oh!, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Minecraft on the Switch, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, that is on the PlayStation 5, 13,745 copies in its debut week. Then we have Momotaro, then Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, that is on the PlayStation 4 at 10,224. Remember, there is a price difference between the two by about 1,000 yen, so that's why they are broken looking up here on the sales charts. If you combine the two of them, they would have topped the overall sales charts here. We have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, and then Super Mario Party. And looking at how things have been going the past several weeks in Japan, it's basically been all Switch titles, at times the entire top 30. So here we are now with at least a couple of PlayStation releases, that being Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, kind of breaking things up there. Moving over to the hardware, we do have the Nintendo Switch at the top, 72,527 units. It is coming up now, lifetime in Japan, on 21 million units. That's very impressive. Then we have the PlayStation 5, 12,638. The PlayStation 5 is actually coming up on 1 million units lifetime in Japan. Then we have the Xbox Series console, and this was interesting because I saw a lot of people talk about the improvement Microsoft has made in Japan, and yeah, actually it has, 5,782. That is up pretty well from the previous week, but the biggest thing here is looking at its lifetime to date numbers, which is coming up to the Xbox One rapidly. I think the Xbox One sold, what, a little over 100,000 or so systems. The Xbox Series is going to get there pretty quickly, and this was kind of an outlier week for the Xbox. I'm not really sure what happened in Japan other than just maybe bigger restocks going on there, and I guess people wanted to pick them up, but hey, good for Microsoft there in Japan. Then we have the PlayStation 4 at 943 and the 3DS at 522. So overall on the hardware side, pretty good, despite the Switch OLED system already being announced and coming up here in October. The Switch continues to sell well. The PlayStation 5 appears to be picking up some momentum, coming up on that 1 million unit mark, and the Xbox, while 5,000 units in a week isn't exactly great in Japan because we can compare it to other systems around it, for Microsoft in a bubble, that is an improvement over the Xbox One. So overall, a pretty good week there in Japan as we head towards the busier months of the holidays. And before we go to the comment of the day, or Taylor, the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, are you concerned that we have not seen an updated look at the Halo Infinite campaign yet? 59% said yes, the game has a release date, but no new gameplay. And then 41% said no, they will show it soon ahead of launch. And I understand why people are concerned, since, yeah, it's coming out December 8th, and the only time we saw the Halo Infinite campaign, it wasn't great, and that was last July. We've heard Joseph Staten talking it up a lot. Like, he just talked it up when he was explaining why he couldn't show it, so I'm hoping we do get that big wow moment when they show it again. Tons of improvements. Maybe they show a really cool set piece to get everyone really hyped up, but yeah, there should be concern right now for the Halo Infinite campaign because they haven't really shown us anything yet to add confidence to this release as we roll into December. So here's hoping they have something lined up for October or November at the latest. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Nate saying, here's how we know that the statements from Wada and Heritage Games are BS. If they truly thought that Carl's video was defamatory, then they would file a defamation lawsuit. The fact that they didn't even threaten a lawsuit says everything we need to know. I just don't think they want this to go that far even. Like, I kind of feel like they want this just be quietly swept under the rug because now it's out there, the video is going viral, and I feel like other outlets and publications are going to start looking into this, and when you get more and more journalists starting to investigate you and your company, they're probably going to start uncovering things if there are things to be uncovered, and I kind of feel like, I'm sure like many of you, that there's stuff there that's going to be uncovered. So I think that's the biggest part here, is they don't want it to get to a lawsuit, because then things will start to pop up. They just want it to quietly fade away. The problem is now everyone's realizing really what's going on here after that really well-made video, so I don't think this is gonna be going away anytime soon. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, it really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Well, there's the Halo Infinite Xbox Series X console. Were you someone trying to pick one of these up and you were unable to, and then you looked on eBay and you realized, oh, now they're double the price. Great. Also, what about Bravely Default 2? Are you picking it up on Steam to check it out? And then 343 Halo Infinite in the campaign. When do you think we finally get another look at it? Thanks guys for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time for Newswave.